Welcome to Forbidden Texts. What you are about to see may shock you. It may surprise you, but will definitely challenge everything you thought you knew. Stick around until the end to discover the forbidden knowledge that they don't want you to have.
They lied to you. Everything you think you know about success, happiness, your place in this world was carefully designed to keep you in a cage. A cage so comfortable you never even think to question it. But some do. Some wake up, rip off the blindfold, and see the system for what it really is. And once you see it, you can never go back. Welcome to Forbidden Texts, where we explore ancient knowledge and forgotten wisdom. You were born into a reality shaped by forces you never agreed to, never questioned, and never even noticed. From the moment you took your first breath, you were fed a script. Follow the rules. Get good grades. Obey authority. Work hard, climb the ladder, retire, and die. And if you play along, they promise you comfort, security, and maybe even a little happiness. Routines that drain them, jobs that suffocate them, distractions that keep them numb. And the moment anyone dares to step outside the lines, the system pulls them back in. Be realistic. That's just the way it is. Don't be difficult. But here's what they don't want you to know. There's another path. One that leads to something far greater. A path only the awakened find. Because those who wake up to the truth begin to see the cracks in the illusion. They see the invisible chains wrapped around their minds. And they realize the world is not what it seems. By the time this journey is over, you will see it too. But the question is, will you be ready for what comes next? Most people won't make it. Not because they can't, but because they won't. Because waking up means tearing apart everything you've ever believed. It means facing the uncomfortable truth that your life, your choices, your beliefs, your ambitions may not be entirely your own. The masses don't want to see this. They don't want to believe they've been programmed, controlled, manipulated. So they do what they've been trained to do. Reject it. Mock it. Defend the system that keeps them blind. The job, the news, the rules, the expectations. It was all designed to keep you in a state of compliance. A worker, a consumer, a follower. And here's the trick. The system doesn't need chains. It doesn't need violence. All it needs is your mind. A mind filled with distractions, fear, and artificial desires is a mind that will never question, never break free. Look at the world. Endless entertainment. Non-stop stimulation. The illusion of choice while you're guided down the same narrow path as everyone else. Social media keeps you distracted. News keeps you afraid. Work keeps you exhausted. And the moment you even think of stepping outside the boundaries, the system pulls you back. But why? Why do they need you asleep? Because an awakened mind is dangerous. A person who thinks for themselves cannot be controlled. Not because they're right, but because they're terrified. Terrified of the truth. Terrified that if they accept even a fraction of it, their entire reality will collapse. And for many, that fear is enough to keep them trapped forever. But for the few who dare to keep going, who refuse to stay asleep, a new path begins to emerge. One that leads beyond the illusion. One that leads to something far greater. But first, you have to see the system for what it really is. The system wasn't built to free you. It was built to contain you. Look around. Schools, corporations, governments, media. Different names, same purpose. to shape your thoughts, dictate your beliefs, and make sure you never question who really benefits from your obedience. Let's start with the beginning, the moment they start programming you. School. You weren't educated. You were trained. Trained to sit still, follow orders, memorize information, and repeat it back on command. The most obedient students are rewarded. The ones who think differently are labeled as problems. Employees. People who will trade the best years of their lives for a paycheck, too afraid to step out of line. Then comes the real trap, the cycle that keeps you locked in. You get a job, maybe one you don't even like, but it pays the bills. The paycheck comes, and before you even touch it, most of it is gone. Taxes, rent, debt, insurance. Whatever's left is just enough to keep you going. You work harder, hoping for a way out, but the system tightens its grip. Promotions keep you chasing. Loans keep you dependent. Fear keeps you in place. But you still have your distractions, right? The media feeds you narratives designed to keep you afraid or entertained, never questioning. You turn on the news, and what do you see? The system doesn't force you into submission. It convinces you to submit willingly. And most people do. They accept the cage because it's comfortable. Because stepping out means uncertainty, risk, the unknown. But you've started to see the cracks. And once you do, there's no going back. Because the moment you begin to wake up, something inside you starts to change. You begin to ask questions that others are too afraid to ask. You start seeing patterns that were always there but never noticed. And if you keep going, if you push past the fear, you reach the most dangerous realization of all. The life you were given is not the life you were meant to live. And that's when everything shifts. It starts with a feeling, subtle at first, like a whisper in the back of your mind. Something isn't right. The life you've been living feels hollow, like a script you never agreed to, playing on repeat. At first, you ignore it. Push it down. Keep moving forward like you're supposed to. But that feeling doesn't go away. That moment is the beginning of the awakening. And if you embrace it, if you lean into that discomfort instead of numbing it, you'll realize what's happening. You are starting to see through the illusion. The system wants you to believe that feeling is just stress, just exhaustion, just part of being an adult. But deep down, you know the truth. It's your mind breaking free. It's your soul rejecting the script. But here's where most people stop. Because the next step, it's terrifying. Once you start questioning the reality you were given, everything falls apart. You begin to see how much of your life was dictated by someone else's rules. How your dreams, your ambitions, even your sense of self were shaped by a system that never had your best interest at heart. And then comes the most painful part, the realization that almost everyone around you is still asleep. This is the breaking point. The moment that decides whether you go back to sleep or keep going. Because leaving the system isn't just about thinking differently, it's about becoming different. And becoming different, it means letting go of everything that kept you in chains. The old mindset, the false beliefs, the need for approval, the fear of the unknown. And the more you let go, the more you realize something that changes everything. You were never meant to fit into this world. You were meant to rise above it. But breaking free is just the beginning. The real question is, what comes next? Most people never get this far. They feel the pull, the deep knowing that their life was meant for something greater, but they hesitate. Not because they don't want to be free, but because freedom comes with a price. And the price, everything you thought you were. The person you were trained to be, the obedient worker, the silent follower, the one who never questioned, never stepped out of line. That version of you has to die. The things that used to entertain you, meaningless. Even your goals, the ones you worked so hard for, suddenly feel like a distraction from something much bigger. And then, the loneliness sets in. Because while the masses are still asleep, moving in the same predictable cycles, you are standing at the edge of something vast, something unknown. This is the part they don't tell you about. The part where everything crumbles before it gets better. The part where you question everything. Am I making a mistake? Why does no one else see what I see? Why is this so difficult? The system conditioned you to fear this moment. It taught you that discomfort means danger, that uncertainty means failure, that stepping away from the herd means isolation. But here's what they never wanted you to realize. This is the beginning of true power. It's been buried beneath layers of programming, hidden behind the noise of a world designed to distract you. But now, the illusion is falling away. And as it does, you start to feel something you haven't felt in a long time. Clarity. You see through the distractions, the fake narratives, the invisible chains. And in that moment, you understand something most people never will. You were never lost. You were never broken. You were never powerless. You were simply asleep. But now, you are waking up. And once you fully awaken, there is nothing they can do to stop you. But waking up is only the first step. Because once you see through the illusion, once you break free from the programming, the real challenge begins. What do you do with this awareness? Most people, even those who glimpse the truth, never move beyond this point. They see the system for what it is, but they don't know how to escape it. So they stay trapped, awake, but powerless. Knowing the game is rigged but still playing by its rules. The unknown is terrifying. It's unpredictable, filled with uncertainty and risk. But it is also where your true power lies. Because real power has never belonged to those who follow orders, who seek permission, who live in fear of breaking the rules. Real power belongs to those who create their own path. But stepping into that power requires something most people are unwilling to face: destruction. Not of the world, not of society.
A quick message. This space has become something truly special for many of us. A community of people on a shared journey of spiritual growth, healing, and awakening. Your comments and stories inspire me every day, and it's clear there's so much more we can create together, especially since this path can feel lonely at times. That's why we've created a spiritual space on Patreon, a sanctuary for deeper connection, exclusive content, and meaningful conversations with others from this channel who share your journey. Together, we can build something uplifting, authentic, and spiritually powerful. If this resonates with you and you'd like to be part of something bigger, whatever you're going through, you'll find the link in the description or pinned in the comments. Your membership not only helps support the channel, but also helps grow this beautiful community. Let's create something amazing together.
But of the false self. The version of you that was shaped by the expectations of others. The version that was programmed to seek approval, to obey, to fit in. That version of you must die for your higher self to emerge. And when it does, everything changes. You no longer think like the masses. You no longer fear what they fear. You no longer seek what they seek. Because while they are trapped chasing distractions, you are moving towards something real. Not because challenges disappear. Not because the system stops trying to pull you back. But because you no longer operate at their level. The fear, the manipulation, the control. It only works on those who need the system to survive. But you are becoming something different. Something rare. A fully awakened mind. And when enough of us awaken, the system itself begins to crumble. But we're not there yet. Because even after awakening, there is one final test. The resistance, the backlash, the moment the world pushes back against everything you have become. And that is when the real battle begins. The moment you break free, the system fights back. Not with weapons, not with force, but with something far more effective. Doubt, isolation, resistance from the very people you once trusted. Because the truth is, the world doesn't want you to wake up. The system is designed to keep you small, to keep you fearful, to make sure you never realize your own power. And when you start to rise above it, when you step into a life outside the script, those still trapped inside the illusion will do everything they can to pull you back. But whose reality? The one they were given, the one that keeps them stuck in the same cycle, year after year, while their true potential rots away. No, that is not your path. And deep down, they know it. That's why they resist. Because seeing you rise forces them to confront a terrifying truth. If you can break free, so can they. And that means admitting they've been asleep all along. Most people will never take that step. It's easier to stay in the illusion, to keep believing the lie, to convince themselves that you're the one who lost your way. But here's where you separate yourself from the rest. You don't need their validation. You don't need their approval. You don't need permission to become who you were meant to be. Because the resistance you face is proof that you are leaving the old world behind. Something most people never realize until it's too late. You are not here just to wake up. You are here to do something with that awakening. To create, to lead, to inspire, to build something outside the system that once enslaved you. Because awakening is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning. And what you do next will determine everything. Most people think awakening is the final destination. That once you see through the illusion, once you break free from the system, your work is done. They couldn't be more wrong. Because the truth is, waking up is just the first step. The real test, what you do with that awakening. And this is where most people fail. They spend years talking about the system, exposing the lies, diving into endless rabbit holes of corruption and deception. But what they don't realize is that the system wants this. It doesn't care if you know the truth. As long as you stay in a state of fear, as long as you waste your energy obsessing over how deep the illusion goes, you are still playing the game. Because awareness without action is another form of slavery. Or are you going to do what the system fears most? Create something beyond its control? Because that is the only way forward. The system was built to make you believe you are powerless. It trained you to think that change is impossible, that breaking free means exile, that stepping outside its rules leads to chaos. But the truth is far more dangerous than they want you to know. You are more powerful than the system itself. Because you don't need it. You never did. Everything they told you was necessary. Permission, validation, status, structure. It was all a lie. The greatest minds, the most revolutionary figures in history, all had one thing in common. They did not ask for approval. They did not wait for permission. They did not seek acceptance from those still asleep. One free from the limitations of the past. One that does not seek comfort but purpose. One that is no longer bound by fear, but fueled by something greater. This is where most people stop. But you are just getting started. Because once you step into your higher calling, once you embrace the truth of who you really are, there is nothing left to fear. And the world will never be the same again. The world doesn't change because people complain about it. It doesn't change because people wish it were different. It changes when those who see the truth do something with it. Most people never reach this point. They stop at awareness, trapped in an endless cycle of frustration, anger, and fear. They talk about the system. They analyze it. They expose it. But they never leave it behind. Because real change That requires stepping into the unknown. And the unknown is terrifying. It means building something from nothing, walking away from the life you once knew. It loses power when you stop needing it, when you no longer rely on it for your survival, your identity, your sense of purpose. When you create rather than consume. When you stand in your own truth rather than follow someone else's path. That is the ultimate threat. Because the moment you stop playing by their rules no longer apply to you. Think about it. Why does the system need you afraid? Why does it flood you with distractions, keep you stressed, keep you in a cycle of survival? Because as long as you're reacting, you're not creating. And creation is the one thing the system cannot control. It can control what you consume. It can control what you fear. But it cannot control what you build. That is why the greatest shift in history won't come from protests. Who stop feeding the machine? Who create a new reality instead of trying to fix a broken one? This is where true power begins. Because once you step into your higher calling, once you shift from awareness to action, you are no longer just awake. You are a force. And that force, multiplied across thousands, millions of awakened minds, is what the system fears most. Not rebellion, not resistance, but irrelevance. Because once enough people realize they never needed the system to begin with, it ceases to exist. And that is the future they never wanted you to see. But now, you do. And the only question left is, what will you do with it? You've seen the truth. You've broken free from the illusion. But knowledge alone is not enough. Because awakening without action is just another form of paralysis. This is where most stop, knowing the system is broken, but doing nothing about it. Trapped between awareness and purpose, stuck in the void of understanding but never moving forward. That is not your path. Because knowing the truth is only the beginning. The real power comes from living it. But that you will realize your own power and start using it. Because an awakened mind that takes action is unstoppable. Look back at history. The ones who changed the world were never the ones who followed the rules, who waited for permission, who played it safe. They were the ones who saw through the illusion and chose to create something new. That is your mission. Because the moment you stop living inside the system's reality and start building your own, you become untouchable. You stop playing their game and start creating your own. And when enough of us do this, the system collapses under its own weight. Not because we fought it, but because we outgrew it. This is why they keep you distracted. Why they fill your life with meaningless obligations, endless entertainment, and constant fear. Because as long as you are focused on their reality, you will never create your own. Because this journey has never been about just waking up. It's about what happens after. Most people hesitate at this point. They wake up, they see the illusion for what it is, but then nothing. They wait for the right time, for the right sign, for someone else to lead the way. But here's the truth no one tells you. No one is coming to save you. No guru, no government, no secret knowledge hidden in ancient texts. Because the power you've been searching for, it was never outside of you. It was always within you, buried beneath the layers of conditioning designed to make you forget. And now you remember. You were never meant to be a follower. You were never meant to live inside someone else's reality. You were never meant to stay small. The system wants you passive, compliant, stuck in a cycle of waiting for permission, waiting for approval, waiting for a sign that it's safe to move forward. But here's the harsh reality. There is no safe path. There is only the true path. And the true path, it requires you to become something entirely different from who you were taught to be. They need certainty. They need security. They need the illusion of control. But you have already stepped beyond that. You don't need to know every step ahead. You just need to take the first one. And when you do, something incredible happens. The fear fades. The doubts weaken. The path begins to unfold in ways you could have never predicted. Because here's what the system doesn't want you to realize. You were always meant to create your own reality. Not follow. Not obey. Not wait. Create. And once you start, there is no going back. The old world will seem foreign to you. The things you once cared about will feel meaningless. The fears that once held you back will no longer have power over you. Because you will have stepped into something greater. Your higher calling. The thing you were meant to do. The life you were meant to live. The impact you were meant to have. Because once you do, the world will never see you the same way again. And neither will you.